Peace, family. This is Tariq. Welcome back again for another day, another episode of Knowledge Corner. All right, today's insight, divine guidance. Divine guidance. I get this from the song I Can Show You Love by Larry June. This is off of his Numbers album that was released on December 23rd of 2020. If you have watched my videos, you'll know that I have a lot of Larry June songs that I've done. Larry's music just resonated with me a lot, which says a lot because I don't listen to a lot of newer rappers. But Larry's music is very, very inspirational. Even though he's a lot younger than me, I've still taken a lot of knowledge and wisdom from a lot of things that he says. The part of the song that always moved me was move with a purpose, make sure my mind is straight. I'm working on myself, baby, trying to be a better man. Move with a purpose, make sure my mind is straight. I'm working on myself, baby, trying to be a better man. I can sit here and say today, wholeheartedly, that I am not the man that I was in my 20s or in my 30s. I have become a better man. With that, a lot of that has come with time. A lot of that has come with life experience. Where I am now, at one point, I wish I could have been at in my younger years, but I am blessed and I'm grateful and I'm fortunate to have made it to the age that I am now in order for me to, convey my message and the knowledge that I have gathered over these years to people who are younger than me. Proverbs chapter 16, verse 9. A man's heart plans his way, but the Lord directs his steps. A man's heart plans his way, but the Lord directs his steps. We all have our ideas of how we want our life to go. So when I was in my teens, I thought by the time that I was 25, I would have graduated college. A couple years later, I would be married. I would have more children, and then I would be in a career that, that I went to school for. And none of that happened by the time I was 25. By the time I was 25, I was still in college. I had actually just went back to college. But God was directing my steps that whole time. God was directing me to get to the point that I am now because he knew that, like Uncle Ben in Spider-Man, with great, something with great responsibility. I had a lot of responsibility on myself when I was younger, especially when I was in college because I had a child that I had to provide for. So my mentality was a lot different than a lot of the people that I went to school with because I had a child at a young age. That actually matured me a lot. That was a part of my journey. But also me having a child at that young age allowed me a part of that for me to become a better man. That was a part of my purpose for me to go through what I went through. And I don't want anyone to look at the things that may have gone wrong in your life. Because anytime you take a loss, you take a win. Because that is God's way of showing you that this is how it's done the wrong way. But now I'm going to get you on the right direction because now you understand how to do it the right way. Surah An-Nahl, which is the B in Arabic. This is the 16th surah or chapter in the Quran, 9th verse. It's very ironic that both of these verses are the 16th and the 9th. Allah alone can show you the right path, but there are ways to turn aside. If Allah had willed, he could have guided all of you. There are some of us that people consider God's chosen. God guides all of us, but he guides some of us more than others because he wants those individuals to relay his message to everyone else. You look at the prophets. All of the prophets, as I've said before, all of them pretty much came from humble beginnings. Even though Moses, at one point in his life, was living in Pharaoh's house, he was considered high status among a lot of the Egyptians and the Israelites. He still started in humble beginnings because Moses wasn't supposed to be here. You know, Pharaoh had said that he wanted all newborn babies to be killed. And Moses' mother, you know, put him in a basket and had him go up the Nile River. So even him started in humble beginnings. But if you look at Moses' life, Moses murdered someone. But that was a part of his purpose. That was a part of where God was leading him to. So he left Egypt and went into the wilderness and ended up finding God in the burning bush. And the part of Moses' story that always fascinates me once I read it, and now I understand that Moses stuttered. And Moses told God, how am I supposed to lead these people? And I stutter. I can't speak to these people. And God told him, your brother's going to help you. So Moses' brother Aaron helped him get his people out of captivity in Egypt. That was a part of both of their purposes. Both of them doing that became better men because they fulfilled the purpose that God wanted them to have. Both of them ending up not being able to go into the promised land because that wasn't a part of their purpose. Their purpose was to bring their people out of captivity into the wilderness in order for them to get to a point to where they would go into the land of paradise. That's powerful. I consider this a part of my purpose. I consider me making these videos and me relaying God's message in my life to the people who watch these. I consider that a part of my purpose. Doing this every day allows me to become a better man. And I'll explain that. When you have a purpose, that's something that you think of on a regular day in, day out basis. That is something that I go to sleep thinking about. I wake up, I think about. Every day I prepare, what I'm going to say. I look at the scriptures. I do all of that. That gives me a purpose. Why? Because I'm relaying my message that God has given me to the viewer. That's a part of my purpose. But also a part of my purpose is to provide and take care of my family. I have 3 children. I have a wife. I have an ex-wife. I have a mother of my son. I don't consider her a baby mama. I hate that term. She doesn't call me a baby daddy. I don't call her a baby mother. She is the mother of my son. Even though we're not together anymore, even though my ex-wife and I aren't together anymore, I still have a level of responsibility over them because I had children with them. Especially with my ex-wife, because my children that I have with her are still in the house. They're 13 and 11. So I have to co-parent with her. That's a part of my purpose. That is a part of why I am here, to take care and provide for my family. Am I the best at it? No. But I'm trying to become a better man. I'm trying to do better. And all God wants to see is that you are trying. God knows my heart. God knows where my intentions are. So for me to even sit here and say that speaks wonders, because a couple years ago, I wouldn't have been able to sit down and actually say any of this stuff. So I'm moving with a purpose. I'm making sure that my mind is straight. I do that on a regular day in, day out basis. I do that by meditating. I do that by fasting. Fasting is more than just not eating. Fasting also consists of taking breaks from social media. A lot of times, sometimes you have to do that. There's been points in my life where I've been off social media for a year. That's a part of my fasting. That's a part of me becoming a better man. So away from just not being able to eat and drink and partake in worldly things, that has allowed me to become a better man. I pray that whoever's watching this can see that I have become a better man just by relaying this message. So I can show you love. Good job, Larry. Divine guidance. As always, like, comment, share, subscribe. And positive energy activates constant elevation. Peace.